Hi everyone, it's May, and my book, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon, is now out. I am so excited, and I hope you are too. It's my first original middle grade novel in over 9 years. If you liked any of my other books, like Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, I think you'll like this one too. We worked hard to make it as beautiful as possible. The first printing of the book even has spreads. If you'd like the book with the spreads, best to get it now while the first printing is still available. You can get it anywhere books are sold, but participating indie bookstores have a special small print that you can get with it. Please spread the word. And please stay on after our episode. You can hear about one of the real-life inspirations of the book. I hope they help you enjoy The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon even more.
Hi, I'm Alvina Ling,
And I'm Grace Lin.
and we're book friends.
Forever!
We're childhood friends,
Who grew up to be
a children's book editor.
and an author and illustrator. Yay!
Hello! Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the Chop Suey, Library of Congress, AI Summer Reading Lists, and Summer of episode. Dot, dot, dot. As a reminder, once a month we'll have an odds and ends episode where we cover several topics.
And check out our Instagram handle at bookfriendsforever_podcast. Alvina, how have you been?
I'm on vacation. We're actually, because I'm actually going somewhere for vacation, we're recording this on Monday, May 26th, with his Memorial Day. So I actually have been, it was nice to have this weekend here before leaving, but tomorrow we leave to go to Turks and Caicos. So I'm very excited. I can't wait. I'm all packed actually, which is
Are you all packed?
unusual.
That's so exciting.
I
You know what
know.
the weather's
I
gonna
don't know
be like?
why. It's supposed to be like 85 all day,
Oh,
every day.
nice.
Low of like 70s, So it's gonna be wonderful. But the
Yeah,
weather,
it's
it
been cold
actually is, the
here.
weather is really nice now. It is a little cold here, but it's nice and sunny all weekend. So that's good. Perfect running weather. And we had, yeah, I mean, I took advantage. Like, so they always give us our first half day Friday before Memorial Day, and then from Memorial Day to Labor Day, we have half day Fridays in the summer, which is really great. But I made sure to schedule a late lunch for Fridays to force me to actually shut down and start my vacation when I should, rather because I know sometimes on half day Fridays I do to end up working most of the day or till 3, and I don't know. That's not what I want to do. So, yeah, just been seeing friends, having coffees and dinners, and we had some friends over for Saturday night, and we did game night and karaoke, and yeah, so I feel good.
Yay.
But I yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm still gonna dream about work though for a while, but that's okay because I feel like there's some things that I just like, all right, well, I guess we'll pick this up in a week. So we'll see. But anyway, Grace, how have you been?
Good. I'm finally home.
Yay.
It's good. It's good. I'm really glad to be home, but it's like all of a sudden all the things that I've been, ignoring for the
Hmm.
last couple weeks is like, oh, all the bills and all the adult homework and getting back into exercise. I went for a run for the first time like yesterday, and I was like, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta get back into it. It's so sad that it's like, so sad that it leaves so fast. So it's all those things. It's like getting back into gear, but it's really nice to be home. Um, I got home right in time for Hazel's play, her school play, where she
Oh,
played.
wow.
Oh, fine. So she was in a play called Quest, which was really, really good. I have to say, I thought it was really well written. It was kind of like spoof on it was a spoof on Lord of the Rings slash Monty Python slash like, so basically it was like the end of the world's coming, so this oracle makes this council of people, and each of these people are like supposed to save the world, but they all have an excuse on why they don't want to go on the journey. And so it's like it's like a comedy of that. Like I can't go because of I lost my montage orb, things like that. And so he played the wizard that lost their montage. Well, who was part of losing the montage orb. And so it was so cute. So it was really cute. And then she had a birthday party yesterday, which there was so much screaming, so much like happy screaming.
Yeah.
It was like the screaming where I was like, oh, the neighbors can hear like way down the
Oh.
street, like they're like so much like happy screaming going on. I was like, oh well, I guess we're just, I mean, it's during the day, so it's not like it was at 11 at night screaming.
Right. Yeah.
And so they were having really good time, and that was really nice. I'm getting ready for going to receive for my honorary degree
Oh,
next week.
yay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking,
What are you gonna wear?
yeah, well, you wear the robe, right? So I have to
Oh,
figure out,
right.
but I have a dinner the night before. I think I'm gonna try to somebody from the alumni association reached out. I was like, oh, if I bring my book, will you sign it? And I was like, oh, sure. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should bring a book for everyone. So I'm gonna count and see how many
Oh,
books I have of my author copies to hand out to everyone, and that'd be nice. So hopefully, I think I should have enough. We'll see. So I have the honorary degree to get ready, and then I have the big Carl show on June 13th that we have to discuss what we're going to talk about for our
yes.
public
Everyone should
recording.
come.
Yes, everybody please come. The public recording of Book Friends Forever will be on June 14th. We don't know what we're talking about yet, so please, if you have any ideas, I was like thinking maybe we should just do an Ask Me Anything theme.
We could do that. Or, I mean, I wonder if there's because the show is like a kind of like a retrospective, or I don't know
Yeah,
what do
it's a
you are
retrospective. Yeah, and
of
there's also
your
the end paper show in the middle too, which is kind of cool. Um,
so I wonder if there's something about your career
we
and
could talk
maybe how you're changing art styles.
about maybe. I was asking people like, what are some good general costs? People like to. I was like, someone's like, oh, you could talk about book banning, which I think would be a good topic, but I don't know. It's like, but maybe we'll do
I
that.
just I just had coffee with my friend James, whose sister Martha is in town, and she is a librarian in Idaho,
Uh-huh.
and they run a residency, an author residency there at the Hemingway House,
Oh
which is
wow.
actually the home where he died. He died by suicide there, but the house is still there, and his
Okay.
wife left.
Careful.
They were just saying it's a little that they've had authors decline to
Yeah.
come because of that.
Yeah.
They're a little weirded out. Um, but but she was saying Idaho is like the hotbed of book banning. And I mean that's where there's that lawsuit, I think, where all the publishers
Yeah.
participated. And I guess that's still pending, but she said she's testified,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just interesting to talk about book banning with someone who's, in a
Who's on the
different
front
part.
lines, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it is true that I think a lot of people don't actually know about it if you're not really embedded in, if you're not a librarian, if you're not a teacher,
Yeah.
if you're not in publishing, if you're not an
That's why I
author.
think it would be a really good topic, but I don't know if it's a good topic just for us to talk with like I
Yeah,
feel
and I
like
don't know if it's a yeah, and I don't know if it's a good topic to talk about
at the
in
Carl.
the yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's more of a celebratory
Yeah.
thing.
So anyway, if
Anyway.
any listeners have any ideas, please let us know. And
Mhm.
the only kind of bummer thing that happened is that that the good thing is that of course the book The Gate, the Girl and the Dragon got on the New York Times list. So I was like so excited to get a printed copy of the list because
And it's been 2 weeks in a row too,
so
which is
but I
great.
went and got a paper and it's not in there.
Uh,
So it was so sad. I marked it on the calendar like go get a New York Times, and Alex also was like okay, and he like separately like he got up early and I went running, and so on the way back I got a paper and he got a paper and we both were like not
oh.
in there. It was like it's got the graphic novelist in there, and I was like, ah, Dave Pilkey again.
Oh, I don't know how
Everybody,
often they print it, the physical. Do you know? Has
I
anyone?
don't know,
Yeah,
but I know that the graphic novel said monthly, so I was like, oh, maybe, like
yeah.
so maybe next week. I don't know, but I feel like it'll probably be off the list by next week. We just because it's number 7, like it'll probably be off by next week unless something amazing happens. But that's
You
okay.
never know.
You never know. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll become a phenomenon.
Yes.
As Hazel
And
likes to say.
you, viewers, can make that happen.
Please make it a phenomenon, as Hazel would say.
Phenomenon.
Yes.
Um,
But it's okay.
yeah,
It's okay either way. I feel like I did everything I could, and I
yeah.
appreciate, and I feel like Little Brown did everything they could. I feel like everybody did the best they could, and now it's like up to
It's up
fate.
to the readers, up to the
Yeah, up to the readers. So
booksellers.
please help us. And so
Um,
yes, so that was the only kind of negative thing. Well,
it's a
other
little
than the
bummer.
world,
Yes.
but in my own little bubble.
Well, I
That's
know, like now that you're back, have you been paying more attention to the news and all of that?
yeah. And then I'm
Yeah.
back. I'm like, oh boy, it was kind of nice to not.
Ignorance is bliss
Yeah,
a little
ignorance
bit.
was such bliss, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I'm like, okay, back to
Yeah.
my 5 calls. Well, really 3 calls, but back to my 3 calls again. So
Um,
anyway, speaking
Anyway,
of.
well, speaking of, yeah, bad news. So our first segment is kind of to do a follow-up on what's going on with the Library of Congress. I think we mentioned, was it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, that Dr. Carla Hayden was fired from the Library of Congress by Trump without justification, and that was on May 8th. So a couple of updates. One is that the 7 former national ambassadors for young people's literature have announced their opposition to this removal. So it's John Sheshka, Catherine Patterson, Kate DiCamillo, Jean Lin Yang, Jacqueline Woodson, Jason Reynolds, and Meg Medina. So it's basically all of the former
That are
ambassadors
alive.
that are alive. So Walter Dean Miters is the
So I'm sure,
one.
I bet you he would have as well.
Oh, of course, yes. Um, and so they, in their declaration, they wrote, "We, the former national ambassadors for young people's literature, are united in our strong opposition to the recent removal of Dr. Carla Hayden as a Library of Congress. As advocates for the reading lives of children and their families, we believe in promoting libraries as places for young people to learn, grow, and connect." And they said a lot of lovely things about
Yeah.
Dr. Hayden.
I'm glad to see that statement. Uh, I hope I don't get any in trouble for this, but I kind of think it's weird that our current ambassador has not said anything. I know he might be under pressure or something, but I do think it's
Right. He did post I would say, for,
it kind
a
of read like an
tribute to Dr.
obituary
You're
though.
right.
Like it read like an obituary, and it like not it sounded like she died, not like she was unjustly fired, right?
Right.
And also the tribute missed like just one line, like I will miss working with her. Like I just
Right.
felt like it just missed that one like.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, and I don't, so the, the CBC is not involved in the ambassador, but Every Child a Reader is the organization I think that works with the Library of Congress to appoint the national ambassador. So the executive director of the CBC is involved in Every Child a Reader. So he did say that, and I don't remember who it was, but someone had said that we should lay low and not say anything. And so I wonder, I don't know who or, but I wonder if someone told him not to
I
make a
understand that.
statement.
I understand that, right? But I don't think that is the right way to go. If anything, at least in the sciences, they've shown that like they were trying to take away. So for the COVID research for science, took away all the funding, and they were going to take away the funding for long COVID. But people who were studying long COVID and patients made such a fuss that they brought it back. And I think that's I think
Yeah.
unfortunately
I think that Republicans also made a fuss. So I think that was what helped is
helped.
that it's the
Yeah, it
overall
helps. But I
outcry.
do think that that laying low is not helpful. Like I think that in some ways they're trying to see what people care about. And if people don't, if you lay low, they're like, okay, good. They don't care about it. We can keep going and doing this.
Yeah.
So I don't think the laying low is the correct strategy. I mean, obviously, what do I know? I'm not a part of the Every Child a Reader, and I'm not the ambassador.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
I think well, and I'm just playing, I'm just trying to figure out a reason. And I think it's because I think he probably feels like if he speaks out, he'll be removed. And so I think he's trying to stay so that he can do good if he can, is my guess.
yeah, and I appreciate that, but I feel like the way we're going, he'll probably be removed anyway. like like
Yeah, it's possible. I mean,
and
we'll see.
but
But I do think, yeah, I do think it's been great to see the outcry that has,
and I think that for many authors, we look at the ambassador as somebody who speaks for all of us, and to see someone who doesn't speak for us feels a little bit like a betrayal, like it's like, huh? Like, so that's why I'm really glad the past ambassadors spoke up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to, like, I understand everybody, like I said, I'm sure there's things that I don't know about, and I apologize if there are things that, like, I don't know about that would change my mind, but just on the outside looking in, it feels weird.
yeah. No, I mean, I think it was noticed. I think people noticed. So we'll see. But the other good things that happened is that Congress actually did something. And maybe it's because it's actually called the Library of Congress, and they're like, it's not called the Library of the President, it's the Library of Congress. So, Trump had appointed two appointees, and they were, quote, escorted off the premises. This is on May 12th. So that was, right after. So he had picked Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche to serve as acting library. Um, oh no, two others who Trump named were escorted off the premises because
Good
they
for
said
librarians.
yes,
Yay!
the White House doesn't have jurisdiction. Um,
Librarians, yay, you rock.
so let's see. And then the other update is that Trump had also ousted the head of the Copyright Office.
Yeah.
Um, and that is Shira Perlmutter. So she was also fired in early May, just days after they dismissed um, Dr. Carla Hayden. So she filed suit against the Trump administration, arguing her abrupt ouster from the position violated the Constitution's separation of powers. Um, and so she said that only Hayden could legally have terminated her from the post. So, and quote, Congress vested the Library of Congress, not the president, with the power to appoint and therefore to remove the register of copyrights. Accordingly, the president's attempt to remove Dr. Perlmutter was unlawful and ineffective. So,
Don't you
people are
win?
doing things.
No.
And, I couldn't find any further updates, and it has been a couple weeks, so I think that's probably where things stand now,
Yeah.
but I'm not
So
sure.
everyone make your calls to your Congress people.
Yes, I
Use your
feel,
5calls.com,
yeah.
.org, dot
So
com.
Dr. Hayden was supposed to be recognized at the Penn dinner, the Penn Gala that was, I think, last week or the week before, and I guess she decided not to
Mm.
appear, which is a little sad because I think they were hoping. But I remember here, I think Jason Reynolds, someone made a very strong statement in support of her, and
Yeah.
I guess it was still a really lovely tribute. So, so we shall see.
We shall see.
Um, yes. So the next segment is this was going around the interwebs. Basically, there was a summer reading list that got published in major newspapers,
Yeah, it's the Chicago
including
Tribune of one of them. Like,
the Chicago, actually, it's the Chicago Sun-Times.
oh, sorry, not the Tribune.
Yes, and at least one edition of the Philadelphia Inquirer. And it was obviously generated by AI. Oh, well, they found that it was
Uh,
generated by AI.
The reason why it was found to be generated by AI is because it listed a bunch of books by well-known authors that did not exist.
Yes.
So
So there were
authors,
15 books, and only five of the 15 were actually real books.
this is like, it was such a slap in the face when I read that. Like, that was like, I was actually on tour with Sadie, one of the publicists at Little Brown, and we were talking about it. And she was saying how, for her as a publicist, that's such a slap in the face. She's like, why am I sending all of
Right.
these arcs and these books to these reviewers who are making these lists if they're just going to go and use AI? Like, not only that, like she said, she was working as, at one point as a journalist, and like these are the jobs that journalists like love to have because they're so much fun, and you get to like pick summer reading, and it's like the fun job, and like he used AI to do the fun job, like it's just, and then of course
It's
as an
so disappointing
author,
because it's a slap so against journalism, against
publicists
publishers,
and
publicists,
authors,
authors,
and it's such a slap in the face to
booksellers,
authors.
everybody in the industry.
Yeah,
It's such a
because like
waste. It's such a
such a
waste.
waste of it's such a waste, like that's prime real estate in terms of publicity. Like every author I know would love to be on a reading list like that, like
Right, because
that.
they do sell books. I mean,
Yeah,
I know I use reading lists all the time.
yeah, I mean, just like a
Well,
printed thing like that. Like, look at me, I'm trying to get a copy of the New York Times, so like just to have like a print, like, look, I'm here, like
yeah.
it's just so sad, and
So
it's
here's
so.
some of the examples. So they listed a book called Tidewater Dreams by Isabella Allende, which was described as the author's first climate fiction novel. That does not exist. Percival Everett, who won the 2025 Pulitzer
Pulitzer.
Prize for James, he never wrote a book called The Rainmakers, supposedly set in a, quote, near future American West where artificially induced rain has become a luxury commodity.
It does sound
Maybe
like
he should
it does
write
sound like
it.
a good premise. I would
Sounds
kind
really
of like to
bizarre.
see. I would kind of like to see him write that.
Uh, the one that the couple real ones were Ray Bradbury wrote it for Dandelion Wine.
It's so
Um,
old.
I know, really old. Is that
The
even still
book,
in print? It probably is.
yeah, I don't even know if still, but it's so old. Like the ones that were in print are like so old. Like I don't know. I don't know. It was just so insulting. I felt.
Yeah, and also what's disappointing is all of the authors are huge authors in this list. And
Yeah.
so that's not usually, I mean, I feel like in these lists, like you'll have a sprinkling of like really well-known successful authors, but then you have a sprinkling of like
Yeah.
new and some
Debut. Yeah.
debuts. And so that was also a missing piece of it. So the
I don't
writer
think
Marco Buscaglia has claimed responsibility for it and said it was partly generated. I don't know if
I
it's
think
just
it
partly.
completely
I
generated.
know it's yeah, by AI.
He does not deserve to be a journalist anymore. Go get a
Yeah.
different job, man.
Oh man. So that's really unfortunate. Um, but how do you use summer or do you read like lists like this
Um,
ever?
with Hazel, in the past when she was younger, we would, like
Hmm.
not too much anymore. But in the summer we used to look for like good summer things for us to read together.
Hmm.
And then and I can't remember which ones we've read together that were really good. Um,
Yeah.
so
I'll sometimes but going back to AI, I remember because I have Google alerts on some of my books. And sometimes I click on, the alert, and sometimes I don't. But I remember I clicked on one because it was Cruel Prince was on some list, and the list looked kind of interesting. So I clicked on it, and I wish I had screenshotted it or saved it because the description of the book was completely wrong. And I don't know where it came from. And I thought, I wonder if AI wrote this, but it was a legitimate, or I think it was, it was like it was a, you know, a, a magazine or something that I had heard, I'd heard of. It wasn't some random
yeah, I'm kind of surprised
publication.
how prevalent AI is being used now. Like it seems like a lot of people use like I don't have Chat GPT or anything like that, so I don't so I'm really out of it, but it seems like a
I,
lot of
I'm
people.
mean, I definitely don't use it, but when I had dinner with two friends who are not, I mean, they're maybe used to be in the industry or adjacent to the industry, but um, and they both use it, and one of them used it to help. She said, "Oh, I love to use ChatGPT to figure out how to split the bill," for example. I don't know. It's so I do feel like people are using it for, oh, and my other friend said that her partner used it to prep for an interview, and that it was actually really, really helpful. So I don't know. I mean, I do think that a lot of people are using it just as this is like, it's like Google, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Although the Google AI is bad. It's still not good. Like, I wonder if that's the AI that this guy used because it does, because sometimes when it first came out, I was testing it and I thought, oh, well, if it could help find comp titles, that would be great. And it just was not. And I do feel like sometimes you find out, oh, it gives you a book that doesn't exist. So
So I'm going to
anyway,
try to stay away as long as possible.
yes.
So, um, and
All
then
right. So since we are recording this on Memorial Day, which always feels like it's the start of
beginning of
summer.
summer.
Yeah, it's not the actual start of summer, but it's the start. It's a symbolic start of summer. We thought we'd talk about what is this the summer of for us,
Yes.
right?
I've actually heard this on the Gretchen Rubin podcast, the Happier podcast, and she was saying how like every summer she does like a summer of this, a summer of that. Like I think she was saying like it's going to be my summer of Proust, where she's just going to read Proust all summer, or summer of I think the sister was saying it's going to be my summer of yacht rock or I was like, okay. I thought that was a little strange, but like what you do you it sounds like fun for you. But I thought that was an interesting way of thinking about like, oh, what do you want this summer to be of, like your summer
Mhm.
theme, not just summer, like what do you want to accomplish, what do you want your summer theme to be. And I was just like, it's a really interesting way to think about it, and it's a good thing to think about because that way the summer doesn't just slip by and then you're like, oh, it's fall and I didn't do anything. So what are you thinking for your summer of?
Well, I think I'm going to take this opportunity to brainstorm because I don't know.
You want it to be your summer of fun, summer of relaxation, summer of productivity, summer
Well, I
like
do. So this
good
year, my one of
food.
my New Year's resolution was to read 50 books, and I feel
Oh,
like I'm on track. But
your
maybe
summer
because
of
of that,
reading.
yeah, summer of reading, and I give you a lot of. Maybe I'll look up some summer reading lists. Maybe I'll read those fake books.
You could write some fake books.
Right. But so maybe summer of reading. I also just so I have been. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I bought the Book of Alchemy by Suleika Jaoud, who is a writer. And I first came to know her because she used to write a column for the New York Times in her tw when she was in her early 20s because she had leukemia.
Oh,
And so it was called Life Interrupted, and it was a beautifully written column about her experiences. And so I remember reading that and then just started following her. And she's married to John Batiste,
oh,
the musician. They
mhm.
actually met in band camp when they were teenagers and then, dated other people,
Cute.
but then came back and now they're married. And but so she wrote this book, which is basically writing prompts. So she talks about how she does morning pages, which is what I had done last year. And I've continued my morning pages habit, which is great. But it's a book where it's a short essay written by 100 different authors and then they each give you a writing prompt. And so you're supposed to do it for 100 days. So I'm kind of right in the middle of it right now. Um, but I don't know. Maybe it's the summer of creativity or summer
Oh,
of discovery. I don't know.
that's
I
nice.
guess it's like the word of the year, except for the
Yeah,
summer,
just the
right?
summer. Yeah.
How about you? What kind of summer are you gonna have?
I'm thinking like a summer of calm,
Mm,
a summer of renewal, maybe. Like I feel like it'll be I'll have the in June will be my I've got the honorary degree university and then I have the show
hmm And then we
exhibit.
have ALA.
Then we have ALA, and then I feel like after that, I'm just my goal. I just want to like have like just stay home, calm. I'm gonna work on my book. I'm working on the Stone Buddha book. I'm just gonna buckle down. But it's what's nice is it's my favorite part of working. It's
Hmm.
just the painting part, and that's just like, and that's the part where it gets so zen for me. Like it's so calm and it's lovely. Like that's so I feel like
Oh,
it's gonna be
you
my
can listen to
summer. Yeah, I
audiobooks.
listen to audiobooks, I paint, and I just get in the flow. So, and then we're not really traveling too much. So, although we are trying to, our goal is to go to Maine to see the trolls at the Coastal Botanical Garden. So that's the only thing that we have planned. But that's not like a big trip, like, and like
Mhm.
just not let the weeds take over the garden. Eat a lot
Yeah.
of cucumbers, like grow a lot of cucumbers, eat a lot of cucumbers. So I'm like, I don't know what that is, like a summer of calm, I guess.
Yeah. Peace.
Yeah, summer of
Calm.
peace. Yeah, I think
Peace
that's,
is nice
yeah,
because maybe also we can extend that peace to the world. Let's
yeah. It's
let's
a
have
summer of
peace.
peace. I'm gonna try really hard not to get, I'll do my 5 calls, 3 calls, but I'm just gonna be like, you know,
Yeah.
let the
Yeah.
rest go, like, and just focus on my work. So that's my summer. It's gonna be my summer of peace.
That's nice.
Sure.
All right. Well, I guess what should I call my summer of alchemy? No, I don't know. Summer of
Summer of creativity,
reading, summer of
summer of
creativity.
reading, summer of
Creativity is
summer of art.
summer of art. Yes, sure. I
I
like that
just
because that
started
includes, that's all inclusive.
Yeah, I just started listening to that book, All the Beauty in the World, with
Mm.
the written by the guard of the Met. It's making me want to go to the
Oh, right. I heard that that's really
Met.
good.
And I was like, I really want to go to the Met now.
Well, you should. Well, you are going to come to New York
Yeah,
in the
the
fall,
fall for the Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Book
Book
Festival.
Fest.
And
Yes. So
hopefully
maybe
my art will
extend.
be
I
done,
know.
so I will be bringing the art
You
too.
should extend your trip and go to the
Yeah.
Met. Um, yes, Summer of Art. All right. So now we have special guest Alison Morris, children's literature specialist, joining us to tell us what we could be reading.
Hi, friends. How are you? I've
Hello.
had I've had the joy of seeing Grace several times in the last few weeks, and I want to keep this up.
Yes,
Yes.
I celebrated my birthday with Allison and a bunch of people at the Gatorsburg Festival. I want to show this for the people on YouTube. Look at this really cute card that Allison,
Aw,
everybody
it's like
signed.
a paper dolls.
Yeah, and everybody signed it at the Gatorsburg Festival dinner. It was so nice. It was such a nice way to
Aw.
celebrate my birthday. Thank you, Allison.
I
Who
love that card. Oh, you're welcome.
who physically made that one? Do you know?
It's from a company. I think it's Mary Mary, Meri. And I've given it to a couple people before, and then it was in a store, saw them, and was like, I'm gonna buy more of these because it's just even if
Yeah, I
only
love
one of
that.
you is signing it, there's a little flag you can put at the end. Like the kids are all like, I don't know, marching or something. There's a flag you can stick in their open arm, it says happy birthday on it.
Aw.
But when I was like leaving the house that morning, I was like, oh, I've got to get a card for Grace. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because I knew we'd have a
And
bunch
they
of
can,
people at dinner. And I was like, we can just each take a different kid or so
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
It's so cute.
fun.
I'm
yeah.
gonna hang it up.
Well,
Yay.
it was so much fun to celebrate with you, Grace, and I hope you had a good time at the Gaithersburg Book Festival.
I did. It was
Um,
great. This is my first time I was at that festival, so it was really nice. There's so many authors there, and
Yeah, there's a ton of authors. It's a great outdoor venue and everything's spread out nicely. And I don't know, it's
you know
every
what was
year we have a
really
great time.
You know what's really nice about that festival is that in some of the other festivals that I've gone to, the presentations are not well attended, but the book signings are but this one, all the presentations were actually really, really well attended. All the tents, not just mine. I went to a lot of friends' presentations, and they were all really, really well attended, and the signing lines were attended well too. So usually it's like one or the
Yeah,
other. And everyone's like, well, I'd rather have
yeah,
the signing line. But this was really great because it was both.
That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's a great show every year. They get a terrific lineup, and Politics and Prose has a big book sales area there, so you can buy books right next to the signing area, which is very smart. And it's like tons of families who come from all over, and you can also just come out to Gaithersburg on public transit, and they have shuttle buses that run from the metro stations.
Nice.
So yeah,
So Gaithersburg is in
Gaithersburg. It's in Maryland,
Maryland.
north of
Okay.
DC. It's just north of Bethesda area, north of
Okay.
Rockville and Bethesda. Yeah, it's a great
Nice.
town. Yeah, the mayor of Gaithersburg is very involved in the festival every year. Judd, shout out to Judd. It's great. So yeah, it's a event where you feel like the whole town turned out and is like super excited about books and gets behind it. And so that's also a really nice feeling about it.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Good place.
What should we be reading this month or next month?
Gosh, what should you be reading this month? Well, I will say, I don't know about everybody else out there, but I've been, as we sort of ease into summer and like more car trips here and there, I've been listening to a bunch of audiobooks. So I'll just do like a 2-second teaser for those. I have been doing some grown-up books, y'all, and a little unusual in my routine. But I was like, it's finally time for me to listen to Circe and Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So I did both of those on audio. Highly recommend the audio of each of those. Also, I will say Song of Achilles feels like a really good book to do for Pride Month. Just a great, great love story. I mean, tragic love story, but yeah, epic story. And so I just listened to those. Gareth and I also listened together to Howl's Moving Castle. That was very fun. Little Diana Wynne Jones action. We have seen the movie many times, but confession, I had never actually read the book.
I haven't
book is
either.
so much
I'm going to add it to my.
The book is terrific.
The book is so much better. Me and Hazel read that together and then watched the movie and then criticized the movie.
Well, part of what's fun is having seen the movie so many times, like it's fun to read the book and imagine Miyazaki and his, everyone in his studio making decisions about how they're going to adapt it. So yeah, I really enjoyed listening to that. We both did. Yeah, I'm listening right now to Rebellion 1776 by Laurie Haltz Anderson, which I am very much enjoying. And it's set in Boston in 1776. I, of course, lived in Boston for a decade, and it is an intense read to imagine being there as a 13-year-old girl, essentially on her own, because she does not know where her father is, and caring for this family and just being in this environment, the city sort of in lockdown. And there's a lot in the book that is about smallpox, also in various outbreaks of smallpox, and then this huge effort to vaccinate everyone in the city. And so there's a lot of really great vaccine information in the book as well, which I think is going to be super valuable for educators to have and use in the classroom. Yeah. So anyway, I am not finished with it yet. I am deep in the weeds of the book, but I'm really enjoying that. The reader is doing a terrific job. So that is, I almost said Fever 1793. That is Revolution 1776 by Laurie Halse Anderson, which is out now. And then, yeah, I sadly missed an online kickoff for it because I have not been spending much time on social media, but Gerald Connors has a picture book out now called Jim, 6 True Stories About One Great Artist, James Marshall, that I have been excited about, ever since I met Gerald at a conference quite a while ago now. And he first told me about it. And this book is just such a delight. Alvina, you're nodding. Have you seen it or seen just references to it?
I saw it on submission and we loved it. And obviously we didn't win it. So I don't actually remember what happened, but I just remember reading it and loving it.
It's just great. It is it's a picture book biography of James Marshall. I personally grew up reading and absolutely loving the George and Martha books. They're some of my longstanding childhood favorites, and then have since gone on to be a lifelong James Marshall fan and read many of his other books. But this is no dry picture book biography because Gerald did it in the style of James Marshall. Mm-hmm. So it is illustrated with animals as the central characters. And if anyone not familiar with James Marshall, he uses animals as stand-ins for humans perfectly in that they have all the foibles and quirks of real humans, which is also why they're supremely funny for us as adults, not just for kids. And so he did that here. He cast Jim and the other people in his life as animals. And so you see them in this very kid-friendly format. But he also did it in these short chapters that are punchy and very funny, which is also what he did in the George and Martha books and in other titles. And it just works beautifully. So even if kids have never heard of James Marshall or don't know his books, they will just enjoy it, kind of take it on face value. That's funny stories about these characters. But in the course of that, you also learn these things about Jim's life and the things that Jim cared about. And it's just, I am just bowled over by how artfully he sort of captures the magic of Jim's work while introducing you to Jim's life. And I just think it's an incredibly innovative way to do a picture book biography as well. I also really like that a big focus of it is on the people in Jim's life and their relationships. And so you get this fuller sense of the people around him and how the relationships with them impacted his creativity and the things that he cared about and what he stood for. There's also wonderful author notes from Gerald at the end. He does not shy away from stating that Jim was gay, that he died of AIDS. And he also calls out the fact that in some of Jim's books, he used symbols and images that we would now consider problematic, in particular, the fact that Jim often drew people wearing Indian headdresses. And Gerald specifically chose not to do that in this book because it'd be cultural appropriation. So he's just helping kids understand this is what was done then. I chose not to do that here because now we understand that this is going to be harmful to people. So it's just really well done, all of it. It's so well thought through. I think James Marshall would absolutely love it, which is probably like the highest praise we can give to a biography, right? And I'm just super excited to see what else Gerald creates in the future because he obviously is just oozing talent. He also has a YouTube channel with all sorts of delightful videos for kids that are drawing related and other things. So yeah, I'm happy to have sort of met Gerald through the experience of falling in love with this book. And I'm just bowled over by his thoughtfulness and creativity. And yeah, you can just feel that he loved the subject of his book. And that comes through really clearly. Yeah. So yeah, so that is out now. Go get a copy for sure. It is Jim, 6 True Stories About One Great Artist by James Marshall. It's Jim, ! 6 great stories. I should be saying it that way. Let's continue this theme. The next one I want to talk about is a board book called Watch This! ! A book about making shapes. And this is a board book that I stumbled upon in a wonderful Politics and Prose bookstore. This was at the Union Market location. It is by Jane Godwin and Becky Orpin, Orpin. And it was originally published in Australia, and it is a little bit pricey as board books go because it's a larger trim size, but it's got these bright, crisp photos, and it is great. It features this diverse group of kids, and inside the front cover, we see pictures of all of them lined up with their names underneath them. So it's sort of this fun way of like, they're not characters exactly, but we get to know them as humans. And then on each page, it's a book about shapes, and we see either a kid making a shape with their hands, or we see all those kids like laying on the floor or doing something with their bodies to form those shapes. And I've seen other books that do this to some extent, but not as clearly or as well as they're done here. And it's just like the perfect inspiration for educators or caregivers to then have kids engage in the same activity. So it's got this fun, interactive sort of, invitation that's just embedded in the way the book is done. And so it's also like a great way to get kids up and moving their bodies. And the photos are terrific. I think that's really why the book works so well, is the pictures are great. And these kids all have these huge smiles on their faces that's contagious when you read it. So you just want to smile too. So yeah, I really I don't know. It's not that often I see a board book where it's doing something that feels really different and where I'm like, I just want this board book to be everywhere. But that was my experience reading this. So that is Watch This! A Book About Making Shapes by Jane Godwin and Becky Orpin. And then I'm going to take it down and talk about one heavier book for a minute that I read several months ago and was just revisiting. And it is called Mama Moon, A Story About Love and Mental Health. It's a picture book written by Noah Greenye. And this book is one in which a child is narrating this story. They're in a multiracial LGBTQ family, and their mama has bipolar disorder. And I will say that when I started reading this book and I saw that it was a rhyming text, I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Because often a rhyming text with a very heavy theme, those two things are in conflict. But honestly, this book just worked. I really thought it was beautiful. The rhymes didn't bother me at all. And in this book, the narrator, whose mama has bipolar disorder, really thinks of their mama as having phases like the moon does. Some high, some low, many difficult, always coming around again. And that metaphor and the sort of avoiding any sense of blame feels super meaningful. It's sort of like this thing that happens in nature that we understand is sort of beyond our control. Feels like a really empathetic way of understanding what Mama is going through in the book. And this child has feelings of frustration and abandonment and feelings of disappointment that they openly express in the book, which I also appreciate. It doesn't belittle the experience of, having to deal with someone who's going through an episode. But mom, so it's mom and mama. Mama is often able to be there for her, or play with them or attend school functions until mama, it goes to a treatment center and is able to come home having gotten the treatment that mama needed. So like it doesn't gloss over bipolar disorder. There's heavy stuff that happens, but fundamentally what you feel in this book is this is a warm-hearted book about a child who loves a parent who loves a child, and everyone in the small family is just doing the best they can to do right by one another and for one another, even when it's hard. So there's things that happen in the book that you're like, oh, these are incredibly hard, but they're also just very relatable, real things that happen in families where mental health is a struggle. And I just thought it's great. I just think it's great. I think so many people are going to feel seen by it. They're going to feel like it depicts their family, and it also does it in this way that's just very, matter of fact. Like, this is hard. This feels bad sometimes in the following ways, but also look how much we love one another. So I think it's great. I love the illustrations. There's a lot of detail in them, so kids are going to want to pore over the pictures. And yeah, there's also terrific back matter in the back. It specifically is framed around 3 really wonderfully empathetic answers to questions. So the 3 questions are: what is mental illness, what is bipolar, and where can I get help? And I thought all of the responses were just beautifully done. And it includes a really superb author's note from Noah Greenye, who identifies as queer and trans and grew up with a mother who was bipolar. And this sort of framing of thinking of their mom like the moon, always moving through cycles of light and dark, was something that helped them cope and understand better. They specifically said, even before she was diagnosed with bipolar, watching the moon was an intuitive way of knowing that her cycles were both natural and beyond my control. This helps me understand that it was not my job to calm her down when she was manic or cheer her up when she was depressed. I couldn't cure her any more than I could stop the moon from waxing and waning. My mother's mental illness is just a part of her, just like my mental illness is a part of me. The story does not end with anyone being cured. Rather, the happy ending comes from understanding someone's disability as a part of who they are and loving them all the more for it. We are disabled and we are enough. Emotional just reading it. It's just really, really beautifully done. And this is Noah's debut as author illustrator. And I just think it's a home run. They previously illustrated It Feels Good to Be Yourself, which I think is just a must have for families and classrooms everywhere. But yeah, I think this is another win. And I think, just again, as I said, I think a lot of families families and individuals are going to feel very much seen by this book. I think it's a book where a lot of adults are going to be like, this is the book that I needed as a kid and I didn't get. And I always find it really meaningful when we create those kinds of books, when those kinds of books come into the world, right? And everyone's like, oh, right, this is the one that I needed that I didn't have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Mama Moon, A Story About Love and Mental Health by Noah Greenye. And Greenye is spelled Grigni.
Now that we're doing YouTube, we could probably put book covers in. So if you want to send Alex a bunch of screenshots of the book covers, I bet you he can.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I know I think we talked last time about me potentially screen sharing, and then it gets a little more complicated.
So I bet you he can.
Yeah, I think slicker, edit it in there. Yes, I can absolutely do that. All right, and then I'm gonna end on a lighter note. Actually, well, I'm gonna throw one more. I'll ease this back out. I just read Plain Jane and the Mermaid, which came out several months ago, by Vera Brosgol, who was at the Gaithersburg Book Festival, and it's been sitting on the to-read pile, and I was like, I'm finally reading this. It's a super engaging graphic novel about a girl who's considered very plain and thinks of herself as that way, who is in a pickle because she's going to be married off to someone unappealing if she doesn't come up with a better solution of her own. Which she does, but an unlikely opportunity presents itself that involves her traveling deep into the ocean to try to broach a deal with a mermaid. And mermaids are not known for being very warm and fuzzy, and that's the case here. Things do not go as planned. So it is a very compelling story, suspenseful, but with lots of moment of levity, terrific illustrations, because Vera Brosgol is just such a talented illustrator. But the fundamental theme of this book is really about finding confidence and also appreciating that beauty is way more than skin deep, and being able to see that ugliness is also not a surface quality, really. Because let me tell you, this mermaid is beautiful. She is ugly. So, yeah, Plain Jane and the Mermaid, highly recommended by Vera Brosgol. Okay, on a very light note, that was a medium note. Light note is the brand new nonfiction picture book, Cute Animals That Could Kill You Dead. Uh, Written by Maria Garcia and
Great
illustrated by
title.
Brooke Hartman. Great title.
Yep.
Sets the tone perfectly for this book. This is very entertaining, illustrated nonfiction. It has sort of 2 pages in most cases focused on each animal in the book, and these adorable drawings of these animals looking super cute. And then you turn the page and they are not so cute anymore, and you learn these really disturbing facts about them. So we learn what makes them adorable, and then we learn what makes them deadly. The illustrations are very cartoony with, like, you know, hearts and stars in their eyes and things that, like, you know, lure you in and then go in for the kill. But in the back, they also have photos of these animals. So you're not just left with these cartoony versions. We actually get to see what they look like in the real world. So one example that I did not know is about slow lorises. Oh, they're so cute. They're so slow. But they lick a gland on their upper arms that contains toxins, and then they lick the whole rest of their bodies and spread those toxins all over their bodies, which gives them poisonous fur and a venomous bite. So it makes them the only venomous mammals in the world, which I did not know. Also, grasshopper mice, which are so tiny and so cute, can bite the heads off their prey with one bite of their huge teeth. And their favorite meals are scorpions. And they're able to withstand scorpion venom by eating a lot of scorpions. And so that's just gross and creepy and cool, but also they're so cute. And then
So,
I
but
don't know. It's
not
just crazy.
all of the animals kill or can kill humans.
No,
right?
I think
Okay.
it's more like they can kill you dead if you are a scorpion.
yes,
Although
okay.
there are references to, like, you don't want to handle a slow loris.
No.
If it, like, there's they're also cautionary for us humans, but no, most of them I think could not actually kill us as adult. Yeah. Anyway, they probably could do some damage to us though. Yeah. So anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it. That is Cute Animals That Could Kill You Dead, written by Maria Garcia and illustrated by Brooke Hartman.
That is awesome.
And yeah. So there you go. A random mix as usual.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Hopefully something for everyone.
All right. Well, now we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. I can start this week, and my answer is easy this week because I'm just grateful for that I'm on vacation right now, and will be on vacation for the whole week. So I am very
Hooray!
grateful to
Yay,
have
when do
this
you leave?
time out. I leave tomorrow very early. So excited.
Yay! That's great.
Allison, what are you grateful for?
Yeah, I should have thought about this in advance, and I'm not ready this week. I'm just gonna say I'm grateful for weddings. I'm grateful for weddings. We are going to a wedding next weekend. There's gonna be a lot of friends of ours there, and it's just really nice to have these special occasions to come together and, like, you know, be there just because you love people and they love each other, and then dance a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that it sounds surface level, but it's actually kind of deep. Yeah, I'm grateful for occasions for celebration. I'll make it broader. Grateful to have occasions for celebration, but weddings are a favorite of those. So yeah.
I know I haven't been to a wedding in so long because I'm like,
All my friends
I
are-
think I have to, yeah. And I feel like second marriages, a lot of people don't have weddings. So then I don't know. I think I have to wait for nieces and nephews to get married.
Yeah, somehow Gareth
Might
and
be
I
a
have
while.
wound up with a bunch of younger friends, although this is a second marriage. So
Okay.
that's the other, end of
Yeah.
it, right? But we were at a wedding a few weeks ago, friends who are considerably younger. These are friends who are older. So hey, great.
Yeah. Grace, what are you grateful for?
I'm gonna jump off of Allison's, and I'm gonna say I'm grateful for friends too. Not just my own friends. Hazel just had a birthday party, and it was just so sweet. There's so much screaming, so much like yelling, and so much joyful like chaos, right? And it
Nice.
was so lovely to see her with like her own little group of friends. You know, they're all a bunch of like geeky nerds. Like they're running around with like fake knives, cardboard knives that they've covered with covered with aluminum foil. Like
Nice.
they're just like so happy being themselves, and like so I'm really grateful for the fact that
Wait, was this a murder themed party, Grace? What was the knives?
I don't know that
That makes it even better. Okay, great.
it was a friend who brought them over, and I was like, oh, so you bring knives everywhere you go? And he's like, of course.
Yeah.
Just what I'm into. Okay.
And he's just like, but I forgot the ketchup this time.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Oh, I love that.
So
Great.
yeah, so like I said, I'm really grateful that she has her own circle of friends that like love and enjoy
Yeah.
the same things she does, and
great.
and I'm also grateful for my own friends. It was so nice seeing you, Allison. It was so nice seeing everybody on tour, and also I'm having the Carl opening, and I invited all these people, and a lot of people are saying they're going to come, even though I wasn't expecting them to. I invited everyone because I was like, even people far away, because I was like, I just want you to know that you're invited. You don't have to come, but a lot of people who are actually kind of far away are coming, and I was like, really,
That's
really
great.
happy.
That's so good. I'm so sad I can't be there. When I got the invitation, I was like,
worries.
oh.
No worries.
So,
I
yeah.
wasn't really expecting, like I sent to a lot of people, and I was saying, maybe, like, I can't remember, maybe I sent it to like 50 people. I was like, maybe, 10 people come from this, that's fine. I just wanted people to know that they were invited. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it was really
Oh,
nice.
no.
I just wanted you to know you were invited.
It's also like, I mean, it always feels good to be invited. Even if you get FOMO, you're also like, hey, I feel
You're like, I could have gone. I was invited to that.
Yes,
Yeah,
I wanted,
exactly.
I guess I wanted people to know that they could have gone. It wasn't that like they weren't.
Right.
It's not it's not exclusionary.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yes, I'm really grateful for friends who come out and support, either with knives,
Fake knives with fake knives,
at or at book signings, or at art shows. I'm really grateful for all those things.
Yay. All right. And that was the Chop Suey Library of Congress AI Summer Reading Lists and Summer of ... episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Pacey Work Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
And tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, BookFriendsForever.com. And please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
I'm Alvina Ling. You can find me at Planet Alvina on TikTok and at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. Allison, where can people find you?
I am Kidlit Girl on Instagram and Alison L. Morris on Blue Sky, though I don't actually post there right now, but just you'll find me. Look for Alison L. Morris or Kidlit Girl and you'll find me. Message me anytime.
And I'm Grace Lin, and you can find me at Pacey Lin on Instagram and Threads, and author Grace Lin on Facebook and Blue Sky.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the After Episode Extra. Here I share quick culture, one of the real-life inspirations behind my middle grade novel, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon. Enjoy! If you are ever in China, make sure you look up, because if you do, you might see a parade of small animal sculptures on the roof. Why are they there? Well, you'll see them on important older Chinese buildings that have tiled swooping roofs. Because the eaves were so inclined, the tiles had a tendency to slide. To stop that from happening, builders had to nail the tiles to the crossbeams. To hide the nails, as well as to protect them from the rain, builders placed these sculptures over the nail caps. And the more sculptures the building has, the more important the building is. Most buildings have 3, 5, 7, or 9 animals on the roof, with the exception of the Hall of Supreme Harmony, which has 10. That building was considered the highest-ranking building in ancient China. Now, each one of these sculptures also have a symbolic purpose or a story behind them. For example, the Chiwen, or the dragonfish, is there to call rain in case of fire, and the Hongshi is the reincarnation of the god of thunder, so he can ward off lightning. But I have to say, my favorite is the fellow in the front, Shinren Chiji, the immortal riding the rooster. They say he was a king about to be killed by his enemy when a huge rooster landed before him and carried him to safety. He has come to symbolize good luck, and I just enjoy that story so much that I made him a character in my book, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon. I hope you enjoy seeing what he does in the book.